Okay, can you all see that? Are we all good? Cool. So, I will be pitching to you today Lelouch v Britannia versus Edelgard von Hresvelg, Code Geass versus Fire Emblem. So, you might be seeing this, you might be wondering, why these two exactly? Like, what's going on here? Well, they're the same fucking character. Pretty much, anyway. Obviously, they're not exactly the same, but there are quite a few key similarities between them. I have a list of, like, the major ones here. I'm not going to go over all of them, because it's not, for the sake of brevity. But, like, the main thing here is that they're both, like, leaders of rebellious armies that seek to overthrow their world's corrupt governments, essentially. And to do that, they're more than willing to do anything at all to achieve those goals. Even if it means becoming the greatest villains their worlds have ever seen. They're willing to become evil itself, if it means, like, saving their worlds, essentially. So yeah, that's kind of like the main gist of it there. This is definitely not the first time these two have been compared in any capacity. There's, like, a ton of fan art out there that kind of, like, compares the two, puts them in, like, similar situations, swaps their outfits and the cute little stuff like that. And this has been going on, like, ever since Three Houses came out in 2019. So, not the first time this has happened. And also, someone's actually made a whole ass video essay, like, discussing and comparing the two, so I'm not the first person to come up with this idea. So, yeah, with that out of the way, how would the fight itself actually, like, play out? Before we get into that, there's, like, one, like, teensy little thing that we have to get into, one, like, small little, that. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, Lelouch has a fucking mech. How the hell is Edelgard supposed to fight that? Right. She's just got, like, an axe and some magic. What is she gonna do? Like, usually in fights in Code Geass are, like, way up in the air. How is Edelgard even supposed to interact there? Am I stupid? Yes. But there's a method to my madness. In order to uncover those methods, we'll get into the debate a little bit, because that does answer things. So through scaling from Dimitri and Rhea and all the magic nukes and all that, Edelgard should actually be, like, a few steps above Lelouch in terms of, like, strength and, like, speed and durability and whatnot. Just that, like, the higher tiers and, like, Code and Fire and Three Houses are just, like, a few steps above anything in Code Geass, right? So, with that in mind, it'll actually be difficult for Lelouch to be able to, like, pin her down, like, in combat from such a large distance, right? Because she's just going to be dodging everything, all his little pew-pew, like, Hadron cannon shots. She's just going to be dodging that the whole time, right? Or tanking it, or healing herself through magic or items or whatnot. So, with that in mind, Edelgard should win pretty handily, right? Not exactly. You see, what Lelouch doesn't have in, like, raw stats, he makes up for in range, intelligence, and hacks. Range is, kind of a gimme, because, he just shoots farther. That's, like, no questions asked about that one. Intelligence as well. It's kind of a gimme. That's his whole thing. His whole show is, like, based on him being the smartest guy in the world, essentially. Edelgard's not dumb, but she's not on that level. So, yeah. So hacks, though, there's a couple interesting things to talk about there. There's the Geass and the Flare. The Geass itself, pretty self-explanatory. You could just use that on Edelgard to just kill her, like, right there and then. Pretty, yeah, self-explanatory. The Flare is kind of interesting, because in the show, it's stated to erase all matter entirely within its blast radius. But we don't really know the upper limits of that. Could it even maybe kill someone like Goku? Question mark? But that's the real matchup, really. That's actually what I'm pitching here. But yeah, even if it, like, doesn't kill Edelgard, it's still going to do, like, a decent amount of damage to her, given that it destroyed, like, a large portion of a modern-day city. Like, that should be, like, something in of itself, right? It does require some startup to actually, like, set off. Like, he has to, like, press a button, it kind of, like, shoots out, and, it's going to take a bit of time. But considering Lelouch's intelligence and his, like, battlefield control that he has with his range, he should be able to set it up. And that's kind of the key aspect of the debate here. Like, could Edelgard with a, like, stat advantage be able to kill Lelouch before he's able to deploy any of those, like, instant win options? It is kind of important to note that Lelouch does need to see Edelgard's eyes in order for him to use his Geass. He doesn't need direct eyesight. He can use stuff like mirrors to, like, kind of reflect his vision a bit. He is going to be in a cockpit the entire time, and he can't see through walls. So he needs to be able to open his cockpit, like open up his mask, and then consciously activate the Geass. And that's going to take time. Yeah, basically. Like, Edelgard could just come in and just like, kill him right there and then. But Lelouch is smart. Like, he's going to expect that. So he's going to, like, use his, like, intelligence to, like, plan out some sort of way to, like, expertly maneuver around her attacks and like, do some tricky shit just to be able to get it off. And that kind of leads to, like, an interesting, like, cat and mouse type fight dynamic. Like, where they're kind of going back and forth. Like, Edelgard's kind of, like, chasing after him. And, like, Lelouch is just, you know, being careful, being keep away and all that. Speaking of the fight dynamic and stuff, these next few slides are going to be kind of me going over how I feel the fight could go. How it could be laid out and stuff. I'm not going to get into every little detail, but we'll just get through it. In terms of the setting, I feel like it'd be best to take place in like a burning city. Kind of like the one we see at the end of Crimson Flower here in this like little screenshot that I have. Not only would it be kind of a unique setting, because I don't think we've ever really had that at like the start of an animation before. It's kind of led to that in a few battles, but it's not really been the focus, you know? Yeah. It also kind of contrasts Guts vs. Dimitri really well, because that episode took place in like a snowy, natural environment with all the trees and stuff. And this is like burning, obviously the opposite of fire, and it'd be in an unnatural environment. So it kind of like works out well there, considering the whole like Edelgard versus Dimitri thing going on. You would want to have like Lelouch's strategic like intelligence, his mind, his quick thinking skills and all that. You want to have that like square off against Edelgard's comparatively more simple approach. I mean, she does have skill and like all these abilities and stuff. But in terms of this specific debate, it's kind of like, you know, strength versus like intelligence and all that and hacks and whatnot. So you want to like have that be the focus, and something like a burning city would be like perfect for Lelouch's like quick thinking. This because like a few things he could do there. He could like bury Edelgard underneath like a building or something. Do some stuff with the fire. Essentially, you want to have a setting that kind of like has a lot of props to it. Is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, I envision Lelouch being the instigator here because he just has more like mobility in that sense. Because in his mech can fly, it makes more sense for him to do that. Yeah, they kind of would both believe each other to be either be the source of their corruption that they're trying to fight, or at least some kind of obstacle on that path. And that's what leads to the fight taking place. Like I mentioned earlier, Lelouch would probably start off trying to shoot her down with his like Hayden cannon blast, like just pew-pewing at her. But then Edelgard with her superior speed or durability, she would just dodge or tank that. Of course, given the range, Edelgard wouldn't be able to counteract effectively, but then Lelouch would just realize this isn't going anywhere. He's just going to get in closer and try to do something else, right? He's going to think of a plan on the spot and then just see where that goes. And then that's what allows Edelgard to actually start fighting back. That's where like the crew of the fight actually starts taking place. She kind of like leaps up. Yeah. Basically, yeah, pretty much. You can kind of have like a funny visual here as well, because you have this like very small woman just smacking around this giant robot. She's just leaping up like so far and just starts smacking at her with her axe. I think that could just be funny in of itself. Yeah. Yeah. just like the Hulk versus Godzilla or something, or like Kratos versus Asura. You just have this small person against this giant thing. Obviously on a lesser scale, but like, you know, something like that. So yeah, fight kind of ramps up from there. We see more of the Shinkaru's weaponry being used, like the big, you know, like slash harkens, like the little like things that come out from the knees, the big chest laser that I can't remember the name of right now. And we also see some more of Edelgard's magic, maybe some of her abilities and some of the combat arts. We could use something like Smash to break the barriers of the Shinkaru's defense system. Could be some fun interactions there. Yeah. That too. Of course, we can have some more comedy here as well, because Edelgard's never seen like a big, like, pilotable mech before. The closest thing she's seen are like the little, like, Titanus things that those who Sliver in the Dark use, which you fight in the game. So she could just assume that Shinkaru is just something like that. Like, she wouldn't realize there's actually a dude in there. That could be lead to some funny banner there. Yeah, it's like gold and now the gold and black. Like, what's going on here? So yeah, kind of goes on from there. Lelouch realizes that Edelgard's like a superhuman, basically. Like, she's way tougher than he'd ever thought she would be. So he starts pulling out some of his bigger guns. He realizes, oh, the flare's probably going to be my best option here. So he uses that. He figures out some way to get it off. Edelgard kind of sort of dodges it, but she still gets hit. And that hit triggers her like ultimate like hegemon husk transformation that we see at the end of Azure Moon. And we could have like a cool like Vader versus Obito style moment here, where like Lelouch recognizes that Edelgard sacrificed her humanity to achieve her goals, just like how he sacrificed his humanity by gaining the Geass and sort of like separating himself from everybody else in that way. So he kind of like doubles down and is resolved to like end her suffering. Or you could have it maybe being the other way around, but that's kind of a little bit more difficult to achieve. I think this makes more sense. And, you know, the fight kind of reaches its climax here. Hegemon Edelgard versus just, you know, Lelouch trying a bit harder, I guess. And then I feel like Lelouch would win. It could go either way. I have it here so that Lelouch is just able to get in close despite like massive damage to the Shinkaru, and he is able to get his Geass off, and Edelgard just dies on the spot right there. You have like a very emotional moment where like Lelouch is like goodbye or something like that. Something like very emotional. Yeah, it's kind of going over how I feel the debate would go. There's a lot like interesting little aspects you could like go over there. Got all the abilities and stuff. If you want to bring in the enemy exclusive stuff, there's the commander skill, which may or may not negate the Geass outright if you consider it a status effect. Bit of a question there. It's a lot of like interesting aspects like that you could take from this matchup, which is kind of why I find it so cool. It's also just so unique because exactly, right? Because, like, I don't think there's, like, any other matchup, really, that could do something quite like this. It has the potential to be perhaps the most unique episode of the show as a whole. I believe that is it. Oh, yes, of course, there's a novelty. Like, that novelty could even, like, draw in some more views as well, so, like, people see that, they're like, Lelouch? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and of course, these are both, like, relatively popular characters as well. Like, Lelouch, should I say, is still considered, like, one of the GOATs, you know? And Edelgard, she's infamously popular. So there could be some interest there. Yeah. 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 Oh. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. But yeah, that's it there. I totally did not spend, like, just like the last few days making this. I've been a bit busy the past few weeks, so yeah. Thank you. Yeah, no problem. No, thank you so much. This has been such a like a big opportunity for me as well, because I've been watching Death Battle since season 1. Like, I remember when the original Link versus Cloud was the most recent episode. Yeah, no problem. Happy to like add to the show's legacy in some way, in some weird way. But yeah. Oh, no problem. Happy to help. Yeah. You too. Bye bye.